Your best choice. BEFM 부산영어방송.
Coming up next is Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon. BEFM 부산영어방송.
Plans are underway to designate a millennia-old tree in Gijang County as a natural monument. 이 부산 기장군의 밀레니엄 나무가 천연기념물로 등재되는 방안이 추진됩니다. Now, the millennia-old tree in question is an evergreen oak estimated to be more than 1,300 years old, making it one of the oldest in the country. This ancient tree has been a part of Busan's landscape since the time of the Silla Kingdom, so it's time to receives the recognition it deserves for its historical significance. Well, this is Busan Worldwide, and I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon. Good morning and welcome to Busan Worldwide. I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon, and welcome to Busan Worldwide on this Wednesday, Hump Day morning. It is September 6th, and thank you so much for tuning in to BEFM 부산영어방송. Now let's talk about this remarkable tree in detail. It is placed along the path leading to Chang'an-sa, one of Busan's beautiful temples, and it stands as the majestic millennia-old tree of Chang'an. So Gijang County is taking steps this month to initiate research and studies necessary for the designation of this tree as a natural monument. 이 장안 밀레니엄 나무는 수령이 1,300년 이상으로 추정이 되고 있습니다. So this 장안 millennia-old tree is believed to have stood tall for over 1,300 years, a living testament to history, right? Now, back in 1978, Busan City already recognized its value and designated it as a protected tree. And in 1999, the Korea Forest Service designated it as a millennia-old tree, ensuring its preservation. This millennia-old tree not only stands as a symbol of heritage, but experts also recognize its cultural significance as it's considered a subject of folklore studies as well. 그리고 최근에는 대만 단체 관광객을 포함한 외국인 관광객이 이 나무를 찾아 관광 명소로도 이제 활용되는 추세라고 합니다. So the hope is that with its designation as a natural monument, the millennia-old tree will gain even more recognition, not only locally, but on a broader scale as well. Well, listeners, thank you again for tuning in to Busan Worldwide for Wednesday edition of the show. Let me briefly tell you what we have going on for the next hour. So coming up next, we have The Interview, which is our main segment. And today we have a special guest, actually two guests, one of them from Colombia. And today's interview will be conducted in Spanish and English. So stay tuned for that. And after that, we have Up Busan 2030 and Correspondent Report. And as always, we are live streaming on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and search BEFM or 부산영어방송 and check out our studio as well as our guest and interpreter in the studio. And you can send us free messages, any questions you have, opinions and thoughts, you can send us those messages to YouTube as well. Well, from Busan to the world, Busan Worldwide. 오늘의 더 인터뷰 라이브로 만나보시죠. Now it's time for The Interview. There are countless people working tirelessly to improve society and by extension, the entire world. There are some who voluntarily create organizations to represent public interests, to fill these gaps left by conventional politics, as well as acting as watchdogs for these political entities. So let's shine a spotlight on these groups and their work today. For The Interview, we have Mr. Mateo Bernal, the director and founder of Tejido Chakana, and an artist working on a project titled Warping Life to Weave Peace. 네, 우리 사회에 나아가 전 지구촌이 더불어 잘 사는 사회가 되기 위해서는 보이지 않는 곳에서 일하는 사람들이 참 많죠. 시민 모두의 이익을 위해 자발적으로 단체를 꾸려 정치가 올바로 갈 수 있도록 감시 역할을 하는 동시에 정치가 미치지 못하는 사각지대의 빈틈을 메워가고 있는데요. 오늘 더 인터뷰에서는 이런 분을 소개합니다. Tejido Chakana 대표이자 콜롬비아 전통공예가로 삶의 실로 있는 평화라는 프로젝트를 추진하고 있는 분입니다. Mateo Bernal 나오셨습니다. 그리고 오늘은 스페인어를 영어로 통역을 해주실 Mario Conde 통역사와 함께합니다. Now we do have an interpreter, Maria Alejandra Conde in the studio as well, so that she can interpret between Spanish and English, as I can speak zero Spanish. So let's say hello to both of them, Miss Maria and also Mr. Mateo. Hello and welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Gracias, Stephanie. Gracias por la invitación acá en BFM y un saludo a todos los oyentes que nos acompañan en la mañana de hoy.
Thank you for this invitation, Stephanie. And he is trying to say hello to everyone who's listening to us in BFM today.
Oh, muchas gracias. Now, as you said hello, could you introduce yourself to our listeners first?
¿Te puedes introducir primero a nuestros oyentes?
Claro que sí, yo soy historiador de la Universidad Nacional de Colombia y artesano con 16 años de experiencia en los oficios de la tejeduría en Shakira y de la tejeduría en telar egipcio. Hace 3 años venimos desarrollando en Bogotá una iniciativa que vincula sobrevivientes del conflicto armado a la elaboración de piezas artesanales por medio de las cuales nosotros queremos llevar un mensaje de paz y reconciliación a la sociedad.
Hello to everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Mateo. I'm a historian and I have been an expert in weaving for 16 years. It has been 3 years since we started the initiative to show everyone these pieces of bead warps to connect armed conflict victims through the handcrafted pieces.
All right, so let me translate that a little bit in Korean. 마테오 씨는 16년 동안 전통공예가로 이제 삶의 실로 있는 평화라는 프로젝트를 추진하고 있었는데요. 콜롬비아에서 과거 콜롬비아 내전 당시 이 피해자들을 세상과 연결하는 시민사회 주도 예술 이니셔티브를 이제 프로젝트로 추진하고 계시는 분이라고 합니다. Now, I know that you arrived in Busan yesterday, I believe. So how has it been for you? Any impression of Busan that you want to share? Anything you've done so far here in our lovely city of Busan?
Sabemos que llegaste ayer a Busan en la noche. Queremos saber cuál fue tu experiencia, cómo te ha ido, si hay alguna historia en cómo te ha parecido Busan.
Sí, muchas gracias. Llegué el lunes en la madrugada a Seúl. Fue un viaje más o menos de 20 horas. El martes en la mañana tomamos el tren para llegar aquí a Busan y estuvimos en la Universidad de Pukeong haciendo un seminario. Luego estuvimos en la playa de Wangali. Y allí descansamos y disfrutamos el paisaje. Me parece que es muy impresionante el puente de Wangali y también cómo confluyen acá en Busan la naturaleza en uno de los puertos marítimos más grandes del mundo. Me parece que es una ciudad muy organizada y realmente tranquila. En la noche estuvimos cenando en la playa de Hyundai. Y pues allí estuve caminando recogiendo algunas conchitas de mar de recuerdo para mis hijas.
So we arrived Monday morning in Seoul. It has been like a 20-hour trip from Colombia.
Wow.
Then they took the train to come to Busan, and they were yesterday in Pugyong University to give a seminar. Then afterwards, they went to Kwangali and rested for a while during the beach, and they walked for a while. He was really surprised by the Kwangali Bridge because it's such a huge architecture figure. And then he was also surprised because of the combination between natural landscape as well as one of the biggest ports in the world. Then afterwards, they went to Hyundai and they walked for a bit. He collected some kongs for his daughter, and he thought that Busan was a really organized and calm city.
그렇군요. I see. 콜롬비아에서 20시간이나 걸리는지 몰랐는데 20시간 동안 이제 콜롬비아에서 오셔서 부경대에서 또 강연을 하시고 하시고 또 광안리에 갔다가 해운대에 가셨는데 광안대교가 그렇게 아름다웠다고 하십니다. Well, yes, I hope that you enjoy Busan to the fullest while you're here. So now, could you 먼저 Tejido Chakana 프로젝트에 대해서 소개 부탁드릴게요. Could you tell us a bit about the project called Chakana?
¿Nos podrías decir un poquito sobre el proyecto Tejidos Chakana, por favor?
Sí, es una iniciativa artística que vincula a sobrevivientes del conflicto a sus procesos culturales y productivos. Nosotros elaboramos piezas artesanales y con ellas queremos transmitir un mensaje de reconciliación y de paz a la sociedad.
Tejidos Chakana is an artistic initiative that seeks to link survivors of armed conflict to their cultural and productive processes. We elaborate signature handcrafted pieces, and with them we want to share a message of reconciliation and peace to society.
I see. So now, 치카나는 내전 생존자들을 대상으로 차키라 비즈를 활용한 직조 공예 워크숍을 진행하고 있으며 또 이제 함께 공예품을 만들면서 과거의 기억과 마주하고 화해에 대한 이야기를 나누고 있는 프로젝트라고 합니다. So definitely we'll hear more about this project as we have this interview. 그럼 어떻게 지구촌 반대편인 한국까지 오시게 됐는지 그 배경도 궁금한데요. So what brought you all the way across the world to South Korea?
¿Qué te trajo al otro lado del mundo, a Corea del Sur?
A Corea del Sur nos trajo el programa de promoción cultural del Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores de la República de Colombia y la Embajada de Colombia en Seúl. Nos han invitado a una serie de actividades académicas y culturales para compartir con la sociedad coreana el trabajo que venimos haciendo en Colombia hace varios años.
Basically, the program for cultural promotion from the Colombian Minister of International Relations and the Colombian Embassy in Seoul have invited us to be part of a series of academic and cultural activities to share with the Korean society the work that we have been doing in Colombia.
Well, it's great to hear that there is this cooperation work going on between South Korea and Colombia. Now, let's hear a bit more about this. 이 서울과 부산에서 콜롬비아 전통공예를 체험하고 콘퍼런스에 이제 강연도 하신다고 하는데요. 강연은 어떤 내용인가요? Now, I heard that you have a talk, the lecture, as well as crafts events in Seoul and Busan. So I do want to hear what your lecture is about.
Hemos escuchado que vas a dar charlas y que vas a tener un taller de artesanías en Seoul y en Busan y queremos saber un poquito más sobre qué es tu charla.
Sí, hemos estado en la Universidad de Pukyong en el Departamento de Ciencias Sociales compartiendo con estudiantes un poco de nuestro trabajo y de la importancia de realizar iniciativas de reconciliación en sociedades fragmentadas. También vamos a desarrollar algunos talleres de tejido en los que vamos a hacer una demostración de oficio de tejeduría en Shakira para compartir un poco de nuestro oficio con ustedes.
So yeah, we have been in the University of Pugyong in the Social Sciences Department, and we wanted to share with students a little bit of our work and the importance of realizing these initiatives of reconciliation and peace in like fragmented societies. And also we are going to do these handcrafted workshops with chakiras or beads in order to show everyone how our work is back in Colombia.
Ah, 그렇군요. So I see. So there is a lot of focus on reconciliation, which I hear, and also beads. So let's talk a bit about specifically and maybe show our listeners as well. 체카나 프로젝트로 주로 어떤 공예 작품을 만드는지도 보면서 말하면 좋을 것 같은데, what kind of crafts do you create? Maybe we can show our listeners as well through Chakana project.
¿Qué tipo de artesanías creas a través del tejido chakana y que si podemos mostrar un poquito las artesanías?
Por supuesto. Nosotros elaboramos piezas con cuentas de vidrio que en Colombia se conocen como chakiras. Son unas pequeñas cuentas de cristal de muchos colores que se elaboran en la República Checa.
Thank you so much. All right.
So basically, these pieces, we elaborate them with something called chakiras or beads, and they are really small crystal beads made from, taken from Czech Republic, and they are really colorful.
I see. And right before the interview, I asked a bit about how long it takes to create this beautiful artwork. He mentioned 1 month, one whole month for each of these artwork. And it's not just beautiful, but also there's a lot of significance and meaning right behind these as well. Now, 상징적인 가치를 담고 있는 전통 공예품을 만들면서 공감의 장을 마련해 이제 참여자들 간의 경험을 공유한다는 또 설명이 있는데 어떤 경험들을 또 공유하고 공감하는지 말씀해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요. Now, I read that your art creates a stage for understanding and empathy. You mentioned reconciliation to share the participants' experiences while making these crafts. So, what kind of experiences do participants share?
Leímos que tu arte crea un espacio para el entendimiento y la empatía para compartir las experiencias de otros participantes mientras que hacen estas artesanías. ¿Qué clase de experiencias han tenido tus participantes?
Bueno, las participantes de nuestros talleres en un alto porcentaje son madres o abuelas con familiares víctimas del conflicto o de crímenes de Estado y defensoras de derechos humanos. Ellas han compartido a lo largo de estos talleres sus experiencias de vida, sus luchas, el camino que han recorrido en la búsqueda de sus seres queridos y su trabajo por la defensa de los derechos humanos en Colombia.
The participants of these workshops, in a high percentage, are mothers or grandmothers with family victims of the armed conflict and state crime and defenders of human rights. They have shared their experiences of life, their fight, the path that they have shared, like experienced in the look for their loved ones that have disappeared, they have been murdered in the work for the defense of human rights.
I see. So a lot of sharing of this pain together as victims or victims of families, or families of victims as well. 이런 전통 수유공 예품 이제 제작을 통해서 과거 콜롬비아 내전 당시 생존 군인이나 뭐 희생자 유가족 아니면 이 피해자들을 세상과 연결하는 이 시민사회 주도 예술 이니셔티브라고 프로젝트라고 말씀해 주셨어요. Now, listeners, if you're just tuning into Busan Worldwide, we're in the middle of the interview with Mr. Mateo Bernal and also our interpreter, Maria Conde, as well. And we are talking about their artwork, right? Mr. Mateo's artwork and a project titled Warping Life to Weave Peace. And he has traveled all the way across the globe from Colombia to Busan to share different lectures and experiences through this artwork as well. 이 뉴욕, 워싱턴 등 기억과 화해라는 주제로 다양한 전시회와 프로젝트를 진행하고 있다고 들었는데요. 이 반응이 어땠는지도 말씀해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요. Now, we heard that your previous works, projects cover the topic of remembering and reconciliation in cities like New York and Washington, D.C. So how were these works received?
Escuchamos que tus proyectos antiguos han cubrido el tema de recordar y la reconciliación en ciudades como New York y Washington, D.C. ¿Cómo fueron estos proyectos recibidos?
Estuvimos exponiendo nuestro trabajo Urdiendo la Vida para Tejer la Paz en la sede de las Naciones Unidas en el mes de junio y salimos muy contentos por la acogida que tuvo. Allá la gente fue muy receptiva con el proyecto, así como con el taller de tejido que le dictamos a los diplomáticos. En Washington también tuvimos la oportunidad de exponer nuestro trabajo y de conversar con el embajador Luis Gilberto Murillo sobre la perspectiva de construcción de paz en Colombia. Es la misma exposición que vamos a tener acá en la Universidad de Hankook en Seúl hasta el día viernes.
So we were sharing our work, Warping Life to Weave Peace, in the United Nations building. We were really happy because of the received experience that we had. The people were really receptive with the project and also with the handcrafted workshop for diplomatics that we made there. And also in Washington, we had the opportunity to share our work and have a conversation with the ambassador Murillo about the perspective of construction piece in Colombia.
Oh, I see.
And also, this is going to be like the same exposition that they are going to have in Hanguk University in Seoul till Friday.
Oh, wow. So you can definitely check it out here in South Korea as well. And I love the title of the project, Warping Life to Weave Peace. So as we mentioned, it's not just beautiful to look at, but also there's significant meaning. And even people who created, they have so much heart and connection. Like we mentioned, the understanding and empathy, reconciliation, and remembering. So these projects and these artworks are being shown all around the world, New York, Washington, D.C., as well as here in Seoul and Busan as well. 이 전통공예라는 분야가 좀 굉장히 다양한데요. 그중에 주로 어떤 작품을 주로 하시는지 좀 말씀해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요. Now, traditional crafts cover such a wide variety of fields. So what do you specialize in?
Las artesanías tradicionales cubren una gran variedad de como áreas. Entonces, ¿en cuál te especializas?
Sí, nosotros realmente elaboramos artesanía contemporánea. Son técnicas artesanales que se trabajan en Colombia, pero también en muchas partes del mundo, y allí nosotros les imprimimos nuestro sello de identidad. Tenemos referentes que nos ayudan a guiar nuestro proceso creativo, como los colores de la naturaleza, la biodiversidad y la riqueza cultural del país, que nos ayuda a diseñar nuestras piezas y a hacer que nuestras piezas tengan una propuesta única de diseño, pero como tal no son artesanía tradicional.
Yeah, we basically elaborate contemporary handcrafted pieces. They are really handcrafting techniques that are worked all over the world, but with this one specifically is our sign of identity. We have a lot of reference that help us to guide our creative process, and nature colors, the biodiversity, and the cultural richness that our country gives us. It helps us basically to design our own pieces and make our pieces like we have a unique design. However, it's not really considered like traditional craft.
I see. Like you said, definitely culture is included in here, but also natural beauty and colors. I've been really loving the colors here of the artwork, and I feel very blessed that I can be just like really close to it and even touch it, the artwork as well. Now let's talk about the maybe insights that you gained from these projects. 이 프로젝트를 진행하면서 느낀 점이나 인사이트는 무엇인지 좀 말씀해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요. Now I found the message "Warping Life to Weave Peace" very moving. Although the project started in Colombia, the entire world is tied together, right? So what insights did you gain through this project?
¿Qué experiencias o qué perspectivas ganaste a través de este proyecto?
Bueno, este proyecto ha sido una oportunidad de conocer personas maravillosas en Bogotá que llevan una trayectoria de vida en la defensa de los derechos humanos, mujeres que han dedicado gran parte de su vida a buscar a sus familiares, y también nos ha dado la oportunidad de conocer varios países, entre esos Seúl, y de llevar estas historias a otros lugares del mundo.
Basically, this has been like a great opportunity to meet people in Bogota, women that have been fighting for their human rights and also looking for family, lost family, and also as well an opportunity to meet people all over the world, for example, here coming to Seoul, and to share this work that we are doing with the whole world.
I see. So definitely giving voice to people that didn't have the voice of sharing their pain and the suffering and also the history. I think it definitely raises awareness through the artwork to the whole world. Now, 이번 한국 방문을 통해서 기대하고 있는 부분도 좀 궁금한데요. Now, what are some expectations that you have for this trip in Korea, here in Busan as well? What are you looking to accomplish?
¿Qué esperas conseguir acá viniendo hasta Corea?
Bueno, acá lo que queremos es compartir el proyecto. Queremos que más personas se enteren de lo que nosotros estamos haciendo, de lo que se está haciendo en Colombia desde la sociedad civil para aportar en la construcción de paz. Lo que nosotros buscamos es llevar ese mensaje de que las personas en Colombia quieren construir la paz y quieren llevar ese mensaje a la sociedad.
Basically, we just want to share this project with as many people as we can, more people to know about this project back in Colombia, how we want to build peace, and also to let other people know that Colombians actually want to build peace and share it with the rest of the world.
I see. So focusing on that reconciliation, remembering, and then moving into peace. I see. Now, before we wrap up, I know that 이 BTS B 작품도 오늘 이제 가져오셨는데요. 저희가 카메라로 보여드릴게요. 이건 왜 만들었는지, 또 fundraising information은 또 어디서 찾아볼 수 있는지도 들어보면 좋을 것 같아요. Now, so we are going to be showing his artwork of BTS V. And so I want to ask, like, how did you and why did you make this? And where can we see some of these artworks and fundraising information online as well?
Vimos que hiciste este proyecto con Vi. Queremos saber de dónde lo conociste, cómo te inspiraste para esto y dónde podemos encontrar información sobre el producto.
Bueno, lo conocí porque mi hija es fanática de BTS y nos parece que es un símbolo de la juventud coreana. Queríamos traer también una pieza representativa del país que pudiera fusionar también a Colombia y a Corea con nuestro trabajo artesanal, con un símbolo de ustedes. Toda la información del proyecto la pueden encontrar en nuestras redes sociales, @Tejido Chakana. Ahí van a ver nuestras actividades, lo que hemos hecho y mucha más información acerca del proyecto.
So I got to know about BTS's B because my daughter is a fan, a huge fan. So basically, we know that this is a symbol of Korean youth, and we wanted to come and have like a representative of the country and to link Colombia with Korea somehow, and all the information about projects, activities, and everything that you want to know about this project, you can find it in social media at Tejido Chakana.
Okay. And one more time, Tejido's Chakana is Tejido. Chakana is Chakana, correct? Okay, correct. All right. And as you saw on the camera, you can definitely check out these artworks. Even BTS V's face beautifully just on with the beads. Every one of those beads are different colors. As he mentioned, it is a lot of work and passion to put in all those colors and just things like that as well. And that's going to do it for today's The Interview. We do have a lot of messages coming in just saying hello in Español, ¿cómo estás? 아름다워요. 오늘 인터뷰 덕분에 또 다른 세계를 만난 것 같습니다. 라고 메시지도 보내주셨고요. Thank you so much for messaging. And a lot of listeners just showing love and appreciating your presence here in Busan as well. And that's going to do it for today's The Interview with Mr. Mateo Bernal, the director and founder of Tejido's Chakana, and an artist working on a project titled Warping Life to Weave Peace, as well as his interpreter Maria Conde, just helping us out as I can speak zero Spanish here. And that's going to do it for today's The Interview. Thank you so much for being here, both of you.
Thank you so much.
All right, and the time is now 11:32. Let's take a quick song break. This is Jason Mraz with Everything is Sound.
When there is love, I can't wait to talk about it when things get rough. I like to walk with you when it's night. I like to be the light that's missing and remind you every minute of the future isn't written, not yet. When the heart feels heavy, we can lighten it up. If you've had enough, well, you can empty your glass and we can fill it back up. You know it's up to us to make it all up. So what you making up, I can make it up. That you could be loved no matter what. You know the only time is right now. It's right where you are. You don't need a vacation when there's nothing to escape from. Singing, ha la 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 la. lungs to communicate and be heard. We sing out to protest and to project and to harmonize with birds. Whether it's your birthday or your dying day, it's a celebration to rejoice, to use your voice and give wings to any old choice. Whatever you're choosing right now is right where you are. You don't need a vacation when there's nothing to escape from. Set your vibration in undulation to the highest it can go. And trust me, hear me, if it makes you wanna sing, just sing it. Ha la 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 la, ha la 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 la. Let's all sing ha la 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 la, let it down. Everything is sound. Ha la 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 la, ha la 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 la. Let's all sing ha la 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 la, hallelujah. It's a song that I'd forgotten often. It doesn't make me wrong, 'cause we all need the darkness to see the light in our own eyes. Come on and sing it. Ha la 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 la. Ha la 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 la.
Welcome back to Busan Worldwide. I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon. The time is now 11:35, which means it's time for Up Busan 2030. This is a daily campaign segment in Busan Worldwide to learn more about World Expo until November, because that's when the host city for the 2030 World Expo will be decided on. So let's dive right into it. The Urban and Spatial Research Institute conducted a survey among 800 residents in their 20s and 30s in Busan. 도시와 공간 연구소에서는 부산 거주 20, 30대 800명을 대상으로 설문조사를 했는데요. When asked which city in South Korea do you consider to be the second major city, an overwhelming 74.8% responded with Busan. 기아가 생각하는 우리나라 제2의 도시는 어디냐라는 질문에 부산이라는 응답이 74.8%였습니다. Now, the areas including Gyeonggi Province and Incheon garnered a combined response of over 20%. And the percentage of respondents who chose a city other than Busan, including cities like Daegu and Gwangju, was 25.3%. In other words, 1 out of 4 respondents did not consider Busan as the second major city. What's interesting is that while the perception that Busan is the second major city was taken for granted among those aged 40 and above, it appears to be gradually shifting among the 20s and 30s. Also, when asked what do you think should be the most urgently pursued major project currently underway in Busan, the top response was 38%, with hosting the 2030 World Expo. Following closely were responses like construction of Kadok New Airport and the development of 15-minute city and the redevelopment of Busan's North Port. So now it's clear that many young people see bringing the 2030 World Expo to Busan as a pivotal part of the city's development. With the hopes of the younger generation in mind, here's to hoping that the dream of hosting the 2030 World Expo in Busan will become a reality. And that was the update for the Busan World Expo Daily campaign here on Busan Worldwide. And now let's move on to the Daily Expo Quiz. So, as a date for determining the host city for 2030 World Expo approaches, which is, remember, November 28th, we can't help but to think that understanding the competing cities is essential for a successful bid. 2 major cities actually stand out: Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, backed with its ambitious efforts, and Rome in Italy, supported by a coalition of traditional allies in Europe and Latin America. Among them, Italy is making its case by showcasing its rich historical heritage, seeking the support of BIE member countries. Italy not only boasts a strong international presence, with its tourism industry contributing to 13% of its GDP, but it also has prior experience hosting World Expos, which is a significant advantage in its bid. So here's the question for today. 엑스포 관련 문제 드리겠습니다. How many times has Italy hosted World Expos in the past? 이탈리아는 총 몇 번의 월드 엑스포를 개최했을까요? And again, I asked how many times has Italy hosted World Expos in the past? And the answer is 2 times. 네, 정답은 바로 2번입니다. Italy has hosted World Expos twice in the years 1906 and 2015, both held in Milan. With competition heating up and the support of European and Latin American BIE member countries in mind, understanding Italy's strengths and history could be crucial in this race. Well, that's it for Up Busan 2030, a daily campaign for the Busan World Expo, and we will continue this segment until November 28th. Well, the time is now 11:30 now, at 9:39, and we will be back with Correspondent Report.
Beyond the borders of Busan, bringing the world back to you. Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon.
The country's housing agency is calling attention to
Correspondent Report. That's right, it's time for Correspondent Report, where we connect with our reporters from around the world. And today we're going to be connecting with city-state of Singapore with Mr. 허용석. 네, 오늘은 싱가포르의 허용석 송신원과 함께합니다. 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하십니까.
네, 안녕하십니까. All right, so now we're going to be connecting, and we are connected with Mr. Ho Yong-seok, based in Singapore, to hear what's going on in Singapore. 네, 통신원님 그동안 잘 지내셨나요?
네, 정말 오랜만에 뵙는 것 같습니다. 요즘 싱가포르는 외국인 여행객들로 부쩍 많이 늘은 것 같습니다. 제가 다니는 회사가 공항 근처인데 지하철에서 여행 가방을 들고 타는 관광객들이 많이 보입니다.
그렇군요. 저도 여행이 가고 싶어집니다. And that's very similar to Busan as well. We have been seeing increase in foreign travelers just like Singapore. Now, Mr. Ho Yong-seok, he lives near the airport and he has seen a lot of tourists using the subway with their travel bags, as well as here in Busan as well. Well, with that, let's jump into our first topic for today. 그럼 첫 번째 소식 부탁드릴게요.
네, 첫 번째 소식은 싱가포르 대통령 선거 결과입니다. 싱가포르 제9대 대통령으로 인도계인 타르만 샴무가라트남 전 부총리가 당선되었습니다. 9월 1일 치러진 대통령 선거에서 집권 여당인 인민행동당 출신인 샴무가라트남 전 부총리가 70.4%의 압도적인 득표율로 당선되었습니다.
I see. So our first topic is about the results of the Singapore presidential election. Now, Mr. Tharman Shanmugaratnam, an Indian origin former deputy prime minister, has been elected as Singapore's 9th president. He won with an overwhelming 70.4% of the vote in the presidential election held on September 1st. 싱가포르는 총리가 실권을 가진 의원 내각제로 알고 있는데 대통령 선거가 있군요.
네, 그렇습니다. 싱가포르는 리콴유 초대 총리 아들인 리센룽 총리가 실권을 가지고 있습니다. 다만 대통령은 국가 원수로서 국가 통합을 추진하는 상징적인 자리입니다. 싱가포르 대통령은 정부에 대한 거부권을 가지고 있으나 헌법이 대통령에게 재량권을 허용하는 영역 외에는 내각의 조언에 따라야 한다고 합니다. 이러한 싱가포르의 대통령의 임기는 6년입니다.
I see. So Singapore operates under a parliamentary system with executive power held by Prime Minister Lee Hsien-loong, and he is a son of the first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew as well. The president in Singapore serves as a symbolic head of state advocating national unity. While the president has veto powers, these are mostly confined to specific constitutional matters. In other areas, the president generally acts on the advice of the cabinet, and the president's term in Singapore is 6 years. 이번에 당선된 대통령에 대해 좀 더 자세히 알려주시겠습니까?
네, 샴무가라트남 당선인은 런던 정치경제대학교 경제학과를 졸업하고 케임브리지대 경제학 석사, 하버드대 행정학 석사 등 학위를 받은 경제 전문가입니다. 2001년 정계에 진출한 그는 2020년까지 총 5차례 총선에서 연이어 당선되었습니다. 교육부, 재무부 장관, 싱가포르 통화청 청장 등에 이어 2011년부터 19년까지 부총리를 지냈고 이후 선임장관으로 일했습니다. 샴무 가라트난 당선인이 싱가포르에서 직접 투표로 선출된 첫 비중국계 대통령이라는 점이 주목됩니다. 당선인은 싱가포르는 변화하고 진화하고 있다며 나의 당선이 그 진화 과정에서 또 하나의 이정표가 되기를 바란다고 당선 소감을 말했습니다.
I see. So President-elect Arman Shanmugaratnam is an economist who graduated from the London School of Economics and Political Science and holds master's degrees in economics from University of Cambridge and in public administration from Harvard University. He entered politics in 2001 and was consecutively re-elected in 5 general elections until 2020. He has held various ministerial positions, including Minister for Education and Minister for Finance, and served as the chairman of Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS. He is the first non-Chinese president to be elected in Singapore, which is drawing attention. And in his election statement, he said, and I quote, "Singapore is changing and evolving, and I hope that my being elected president is seen as another milestone in that process of evolution." Well, with that, let's jump into our next topic for today. 다음 소식 전해주시죠.
네, 코리안 좀비 정찬성이 싱가포르 UFC에서 맥스 할로웨이와의 대결에서 패한 후 은퇴를 선언했습니다. 정찬성은 8월 26일 싱가포르 인도 스테디움에서 열린 종합격투기 대회 UFC 파이트 나이트 싱가포르에서 할로웨이 대 더 코리안 좀비 메인 이벤트 패더급에서 할로웨이에게 3라운드 23초 만에 KO패를 당했습니다.
그렇군요. So South Korean professional mixed martial artist. He goes by the Korean zombie, Jung Chan-sung. He actually declared retirement after his defeat at UFC Fight Night Singapore. He lost to Max Holloway in a featherweight main event match with a knockout in just 23 seconds of the third round during the event held on the 26th at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. 이 UFC 대회에서 패배함으로써 은퇴 의사를 밝혔군요.
네, 그렇습니다. 통산 10번째 UFC 메인 이벤트를 장식한 정창성은 경기 후 인터뷰에서 챔피언이 되기 위해 싱가포르에 왔지만 이번에 패배함으로써 이제 선수 생활을 그만둬야겠다고 하며 은퇴 의사를 밝혔습니다. 관중석을 가득 메운 팬뿐만 아니라 김종국, 전현무, 유세훈, 장성규 등 전창성의 연예인 팬들도 대거 싱가포르까지 찾아와 응원을 했습니다.
I see. So Mr. Jung Chan-sung, who was featured in his 10th UFC main event, expressed his intention to retire after his defeat. He stated in a post-fight interview that he came to Singapore with the goal of becoming a champion, but having been defeated this time, he now believes it's time to retire. Not only did fans fill the arena, but also celebrity fans like Kim Jong-kook, Chon Hyun-moo, and other people came to Singapore to support him. 이번 UFC 대회에 다른 한국인 선수들도 있었죠?
네, 정찬성 선수는 메인 이벤트에 출전했지만 한국의 최승우 선수가 언더카드 패더급 경기에서 자르노 에렌스 선수를 상대로 3라운드 만장일치 판정승을 거뒀습니다. 이번 싱가포르 인도어 스테디움에는 이러한 한국 선수들의 출전으로 한국 팬들의 압도적인 응원이 있었다고 합니다. 이번 대회를 직접 관람하지 못한 것이 아쉽다는 생각이 들었습니다.
그렇군요. So Korean fighter Choi Seung-woo won a unanimous decision against Jarno Aarons in featherweight undercard match, and it's reported that the overwhelming support of Korean fans made the event atmosphere vibrant, and definitely it's a shame that we couldn't attend this event this time around. Well, with that, let's move on to our next topic. 이 선수의 승리를 축하하며 다음 소식 부탁드릴게요.
네, 이전에 골프장 및 경마장이 부동산 개발을 위해서 닫을 예정이라고 전해졌는데 이번에는 싱가포르에 유일하게 있는 국제 규격의 아이스 스케이트 링크가 곧 폐쇄될 예정입니다. 이런 소식이 있음에도 싱가포르 아이스 스케이팅 협회는 방콕에서 열리는 아시안 오픈의 13명의 피겨 스케이팅 선수와 11명의 쇼트트랙 선수가 국가대표로 출전한다고 밝혔습니다.
그렇군요. So previously, our reporter updated us on the golf courses and horse racing tracks closing for real estate development. Now, Singapore's only international standard ice skating rink is also set to close. Despite this news, the Singapore Ice Skating Association has announced that 13 figure skaters and 11 short track skaters will represent Singapore in the upcoming Asian Open held in Bangkok. 이 아이스 스케이트 링크는 문을 닫는데 선수들은 계속 출전을 하는군요. 그럼 앞으로 선수들의 훈련은 어떻게 되는 건가요?
네, 싱가포르 아시아 스케이팅 협회장인 앨리스 첸은 스포츠의 지속적인 발전을 위해 싱가포르 아이스 스케이팅 협회 25주년 기념기금에 기부를 독려하며 새로운 올림픽 규격의 링크를 건설하기 위해 노력하는 동안에 선수들이 해외 경기에 참가하고 해외에서 지속적으로 훈련할 수 있도록 지원할 것이라고 발표했습니다.
I see. So Alison Chan, the president of the Singapore Ice Skating Association, has encouraged donations to their 25th anniversary fund to support athletes' participation in overseas competitions and ongoing training. This fund aims to construct a new Olympic standard rink in Singapore for the continuous growth of sports. 그럼 폐쇄된 후에 부지는 어떻게 사용이 되는 건지도 말씀해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요. 마찬가지로 부동산 개발에 쓰이는 건가요?
네, 그렇습니다. 아이스링크가 싱가포르 서쪽 주롱 지역에 있습니다. 해당 지역은 2계층은 쇼핑몰로 사용되는 40층의 주상복합 아파트로 개발될 예정이라고 합니다. 부동산 개발업체 캐피탈랜드는 새로운 레크레이션 시설 및 편의시설과 함께 주롱 호수 지역에서 새로운 주택을 마련하는 정부의 계획을 보완하는 것이라고 밝혔습니다.
I see. So the ice rink is located in the Jurong district in western Singapore. The area is planned to be developed into a 40-story mixed-use apartment complex with 2 floors designated for shopping malls. And CapitaLand, the real estate development company, stated that this complements the government's plans to create new housing in the Jurong Lake district, along with recreational facilities and amenities as well. Well, that's going to do it for today's Correspondent Report, connecting with Mr. Ho Yong-seok to hear all about what's going on in Singapore. 싱가포르 소식은 여기까지 듣겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 이상 싱가포르에서 허용석 통신원이었습니다.
네. All right, and that's going to do it for Correspondent Report and all the segments that we have prepared for you. Now, listeners, today for the first time we had conducted the interview in different language, Spanish, Korean, and English. I do hope that you enjoyed it. I do hope we get to meet various different people as more people are visiting Busan, more international events and competitions taking place in our lovely city of Busan. I do hope that we'll have various different people around the world here in the interview and Busan Worldwide in the future. This program was produced by Tina Park, written by Pang Mira. I've been your host, Stephanie Yoon. And the final song for today is Toto with Africa. I will see you tomorrow at 11:05 a.m.
Hear the drums echoing tonight, and she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight. The moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Gotta take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. night as they grow restless, longing for some solitary company. I know that I must do what's right, sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become. Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. We're gonna take some time to do the things we never Hurry, boy, she's waiting there for you. Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. 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 We're gonna take some time to do the things we never
Hi, I'm Roberto Fernandez from Mallorca, Spain.